points to that actually. And so first there is a general instruction on sustaining that state that we have seen, and then there is specific instructions, and that is that there's instructions for more like new or like beginning practitioners, and then some for those who have some like familiarization with the practice already, and then instructions for those whose habituation or familiarization is already greater, they have a stronger experience. And then there is instructions on how to apply all of that in our day-to-day conduct, how to take it as the path. And then lastly, how to really develop realization in that. And so for the first one, in the general way on how to sustain it, is that first of all, it is not sufficient that we only understand, and understanding is not enough. So once we have understood, we also must sustain what we have understood. And so number one, in the very beginning, it is said, first of all, the legs of meditation is a repulsion with samsara, which is a renunciation that recognizes the suffering nature of samsara. So first we need to reflect on that again and again. And that is to reflect that this life is impermanent, and therefore it has no real essence. And for this reason, because it is impermanent and all of these activities are really futile, therefore one should give up all worldly confusions and delusions, all attachment to these mundane confusions. And make up your mind thinking that I am going to dedicate this life to practice. So that's renunciation. And then next is devotion, which is actually most important. And it is that devotion is the head of meditation. So that is to have a feeling of faith in the Dharma and devotion to the Guru. And it is said that devotion, it will become an enhancement, like a stepping stone to the practice, so it improves. It is said that you should have this perception of seeing your guru as the actual Buddha. Never separate from that perception, and see the guru as your only hope, and you supplicate to the guru from the bottom of your heart. So supplication, it means that you are putting forward, so there's these two syllables in Tibetan, Surdep means to supplicate, Sul and Dep, and so Sul means to Dep means to put forward in that order, and then Sul is to request. So you're putting forward a request, and the request you're putting forward to the Guru, the supplication, is to please grant me blessings, grant blessings upon my mind stream. And blessings in Tibetan means jinlap, and jin here means to give, to offer, and so that is to ask the Guru to give you the blessing, which is the power to eliminate the afflictive emotions. So then that the mind can transform. So the giving, the jin part is what we are asking for. We are asking for those blessings. Give it to me. Give me this power, this ability. And lap, the second syllable of jin lap, that is to change, so that the mind can transform and change. So that's the devotion. And then it is said that mindfulness is the watchman of meditation. So at all times, you should be mindful, watchful, not just in your meditation sessions, but at any other time, whether you are in session or not. So it's also not enough if you just practice in your session, and then when you're done, you again engage in your normal activities, then you just forget about it. You shouldn't do that. You should always, at all times, sustain it. At all times, and never separate from that training of sustaining mindfulness.
Ta yibate gomje chile ningila sa de gomje chile se ate ningila ningi zo sigores. Ta te kare gores na semjin tamje la. Tani jam ningi da. Jo jam ningi la. Deva sancho sem de gomshin tani huwa molamji jawo de juk. Tani rang soso gom te nyanin ten thar masin ke part sarbu macha ke part to ma to ke part yin teni pha ten ya ta preya de te yin ke tunda se use te du chi parche to zong la win ba ten si te mazin te du chi parche ris zong la teni ke chi ya de soso ha chu chi ya da preya soso ma to na rang thar pe kam sar ma jin ban del de song re te milare ba sa yo rang tharpe kamsar mazhin par me yin chen rindung si ba de rang tharpa da thamden chim sal mazhin par me yin ro pa sin rin rian riya tan chobya si ya de pe chocher mele menju yin chog konroli yukcho chimbo jin me che kyo korsona soso la chocha ya ke nuba ta te chobya ke nuba mina ta soso te lan yu na chocher mele menju yin si tini ni ga konrores yin de choma thop rang te lu ta shor pe checher mele menji shi nasim de te la me side ko te la roba si tu mare site parche la zone so su wen ba tin si ya te ne wen ba tan lu wen ba la part de tin san ta de su de la zo te lu wen ba sem wen ba te ke chua ma to ri gang la de ya chi bo ke ti wen ba de chi bo kun de go sa mare teni gom che gocha suwa de cher da ngo cha la sa de cher sia de rang ngo la de ngo cha wa o de se ngan de mo do ngo cha yin che ngo la de cher yu ba se ngo cha cher yu se yin ke nga la chi ta la bong sa ga cher den de ta nang ke sem so nang ke rang ke sem de pang bo la ya jing teni chini lama kuncho ta teni chiro doji punro ke soso chen yong ba yi chi pe ke teni cham soso lunga yi som te pe chulam te pe yabo de gor sitan cham dam si de rin chi mini re gang dam pu pa na de go yo mare da ja ta na che te pu ke pe re go mare to su lunga yi som te chang ma chang jang sin son ya te la teni nin din de sa go res oh yeah, there's some
and then
tin sung gung ke tu som sanje ji yong nang de sen de pa da mong ba da tu som ko sanje ke yong ge lang ga de tu jin che mi pa den pa yin den pa jun cha ma shin na lunga tap tap de kana me den pa jun de song ma thon na lunga ke kare se na de yo ma re kana tap tap me re do na da te se yin rixare.
And so the next it is that the activity of meditation is a compassionate conduct. That is to give rise to love and compassion for all sentient beings. And that is the cause that leads to the result of bodhicitta. So that must be developed, and after developing that, then you dedicate all your virtue to sentient beings. So you offer it all the sentient beings. And then it is also said regarding activities here that it is said that until you have really reached the furthest limits of meditation, until it has become completely clear and you have realized its meaning, until then you should not teach it to others, show it to others, or like propagate the teachings as in teaching or sharing that, unless you have a real solid attained a really solid clarity on the meaning of what you're sharing with others. And for this reason, until that is achieved, teaching others and so on should be actually rather seen as an obstacle made by the maras. And it's better to, it says here in the text, now isolate yourself to a place of seclusion. And also Milarepa had said that if you yourself have not achieved freedom or liberation entirely, then you will not be able to guide others to that state, to protect others. For example, it is like when a person is drowning and you are trying to help that person get out of the water. Then if you don't know how to swim, then both of you will be taken away by the water. So not only couldn't you help that person, but also you actually it is your own detriment. The water takes you away. So then both of you are lost. So that is, if you don't have the power to protect, then there's nothing that can be done. So it should be seen as rather an obstacle. And then it says you should rather isolate yourself. And in terms of isolation, there is different kinds. We often think about physical isolation, isolation of the body. But nowadays, actually, in particular, it is more important to isolate the mind rather than the body. Nowadays, actually, it is not easy to go practice in the mountains, and that in itself is also not enough in any case. So rather, we should isolate our mind. And then next it says the armor, the protective armor of meditation is like a sense of not shame but heedfulness and embarrassment. So the first one is you feel like heedful because you don't do certain things because you don't want to bring shame upon yourself. So just with yourself as the witness here, nobody else is there, you don't want to do something negative because you would feel bad about it, your conscience. And the second one is a kind of embarrassment, is that you refrain from negative actions because you would feel embarrassed by doing that in the presence of others. So basically, ideally, we take our own mind as the witness in whatever we do. And now what's most important is to develop trust in the Guru and the three jewels, and in whatever you do with body, speech, and mind, to do well. It is important that your conduct is virtuous, that your conduct is good in this world. And it's not really necessary to isolate yourself to a mountain and so on. But what's most important is to really apply yourself with earnesty to be very clear and very pure in your conduct of body, speech, and mind. What Jigten Sumgön had also said that the path that all the Buddhas after 3 times walk is the path of a continuous state of mindfulness. And if you don't know that point, that is, if you do not sustain this continuous state of mindfulness, then whatever else you do with body and speech will really not become genuine or authentic.
Wala stati jela pamo to belong to that. Teach gosa mari. Tani ni padre da gom sarva nam ti kandu sini chongo resina. Je go changba se den rupa se ne. La. Talong le. Okay. Ya talong nan rupa na ya chingsa. Te ke kare song do sina rang ki sem na cher je tu te pe men thong bo mi. Mi pe ngan la lu de ya le che den ji mi hyo son de ta te ji lan ri he yong do ji song ba tar chong de dang bo rang ge sem na cher ji tu si de rang ge sem na cher ji te be sem ji rang yin cher yang ma thong she ngu bo de dan de si pa mi par nyam su nyong wa de yang ngang la si pa rang wa sam ra loks Shiba Ramap Sarano so Lute Yajing Deyang Luma Tin to Masong War Jenrek Sale rembe ripa de sale shigeva yalende gom je te so me par jimi de che de jiwa me ba ane jiwa me ba la jiwa me ba che de pa ga kwa tan chur drupa pam tong dan tong ba dan ma tong gen jin yin je yang me par samsara sabaram yin tong ba jimi jing ang de su ji ang de sho ji ji ba tar taros ta de la mo jin de song song yale che de se ya de dzogchin ken na tikyu la nam to de tricks pa che ya ta sa ja jin bo na de ji tin sung kong ken de song ra jimi mari yingmi ngang nen jimi jong yingwa me ba ngang nen jimba me ba jong ya de sakhin nyam ya phosum so sa ja jin bo nyam ya phosum so ba de ri yingwa me ba ngang ni jimba me ba jong ya de de rang ge sem na de rang ge sem na ji ji de de be men tong bo me se ya de da mi de ben tong min tong si da na hyo ga ji xian da sa me ba ji la da de tong ya me ba ji tong go re si de ga se rang ge sem ge ne lo de la ho re.
And then the second point is the instruction for to sustain practice of meditation for a beginning practitioner. And so here, Taklong Master Chi Gotsampa had said that first look at your own mind directly, nakedly. And by looking at your own mind, you realize, you see that there is nothing really there. And within that state, abide at ease without grasping. So when you directly look at the mind, there is nothing to be seen. There's no substance at all, nothing there. And within that state, settle naturally in a relaxed state at ease. But do not allow that state to slip into an indifferent, neutral state, but sustain clear awareness, a mental presence that is clear and that is vivid and that is sharp and cutting, and that has no focal object at all. And so without any focal object, remain within the unborn nature instead of Ah, because Ah represents the unborn nature. And within that unborn nature, do not reject anything and do not proliferate anything. And just remain within a state where there is no concept of emptiness or not emptiness. Just stay within a state that is clear, and the nature of that clarity is naturally emptiness. So you sustain this state of emptiness without grasping at anything in a completely relaxed state. Regarding this sharpness as before, Rinpoche had explained that this comes from the Dzogchen teachings on Tekchu, which is the direct cut. And in these teachings, we are instructed to cut through thoughts directly as they arise. And in the Mahamudra teachings, according to Lord Shigden Sumgön, it is said that the perfect practice of Mahamudra is to sustain a state of non-grasping from within a state of non-distraction. So there is not a state of non-distraction, and within non-distraction you do not grasp, and that is sustained. And that's the perfect practice of Mahamudra. And so also it is said by seeing, when you look at that which cannot be seen, what you will see that which cannot be seen, which is basically the nature of your mind.
Tani badela jungze gomba namji te se chikha goya dan te se gomnyam ni gomba namji gom
somba mare
re oh ya ni ba rin de somba re na somba jungze gomba namji ne ka hyar ka nang de ke ngang de ke rang ke ngola che che re da wa zam le chi de zo re nyo mo gu ba o kare khara kare nana te rang no la phata wa cham le mat chi tam be pa tam zo wa sin tin nyam ya la yo mo gu pa wo ta ye ba chi cher gom ba te se te la sa ta nyam ne ko gom yo pa nam jin ne gom ja ta de gom ja ri se gom zi ri sin zimba tan traves seres zor jie ji gom de dar cha ya me zor wa tan be pa tan zor wa be tan zor we ma u pa la gom de dar cha ya me pa wo no na jo ji chu ji pong bo jie zhe tang yi dong song ba gang yi ba jo jie ge chu pong jie zhe yi dong ga re song ba de chu ni de la yor jing ba si ta sem chu ni ge dil to da ba sa de ga ran bang ko re hi song ba ta ra dan pe chu tam jie ji ju za dong ji ni bo ta ma ji xi ba ma ji ban de ni ko na yin jing 동지 님보는 타마르 시바 맙주 반데니 코나 인생나더라 집준 친뷰 시밀라레 반사리 콩케 타마르 시바 장장네 타마르 시바데 장장네 마랭 트르바 지데 타라르시 릭바 마릭바 라라 마릭 푼트르바데 지송스 시바 티 냠네 존철라 가샤란 짐바메 발레 라바 인제양 메지 송바네 냠니 제네 탐지 찍드드 바 통데스 다텐디테는 냠니 참아 찍드드 바 통데스 대양 나당 인든 짐바네 코르자와 임베세르스 다인이 순짐바든 코르자와레스 나인이 들 신직군다 마랭 인종으로 대심진 군이 출계시 군상 문안 송도와 나인이 순짐바데 tani toksum la sopa ngimpa la shin ta jimmu do cha she dang tomo la sopa tani ngimpa la shin na do cha la shin she dang tomo ta jimmu te tani te ya na tawa gomba chuba la so zangbo la shin na yang do na zangi kare la shin na shin ba te nyumong re shin na yang tarpa thobya ke keksi pe ser te la partie yung re ni chung ni pe chung tamje 니베중 탐지 셈라 짐바 슈발렌 용에나 침제다 침이 곰베 냠제 나와 타마르지 바캬라 템베 나와랑가 마 라소바 젠낭 제른 차양 지미든 요바 람진 초이 임바르 단 짐바메바 이밍하는 지미 중 사키냠비아 포솜소 람진 초이 임바르 냠미 감보바케 젠낭 샤라와 제량 문진바 가레 샤나양 가는 문진바데 람촌델레 공드 프사미 람데르라사 틴로사 요마레스 오테파데 되게나
이천지든 제메갈라서
남촌들 벌써
마딩은라
재미는 이미
말이 천지든 제메들
침제다 침이 곰베 침제란 침마단 제바지 곰라 침이 곰베 냠다 나와 타마르제 바캬라 템베 나와 랑가맘스 코람진게 소바 제량 젠낭 제른 차야 재미든 요구르스 너는 침제 나린 침이 나리 가레나 짐바메 바 하는 조바데 람지 초임바 다보름 보체게 제리야 나와 제리야 문진바 가레 나야 데라 문진바데 람긴 초온데레 라바 데네 공도 퍼사메 손도
And so then the third instruction is for those who have already some familiarization with the practice, with meditation. And so for them, the instruction is that whatever arises, no matter what appears, no matter what arises, look at that directly, the essence of that. So whatever it is, look at whatever it is that appears, look at that directly. So there is actually no need to engage in any deliberate meditation, to make an effort to meditate. You just observe, look at the nature of whatever arises. And then the fourth instruction is for those who have a greater degree of experience and familiarization with the practice, and they should not engage in any grasping whatsoever, not even discerning between a meditation and something to meditate upon a meditator. So there's not even the slightest effort involved here. There is no deliberate effort in a meditation. And it is said that actually that really, within that state, actually all the 84,000 teachings taught by the Buddha, they actually all come down, they really boil down to that state, the dharmata state of the mind, which is the ultimate, the actual state, the true state of the mind. To just only sustain that. That's really the essence of all the Dharma teachings. And so the essence of, the ultimate essence of all the Dharma teachings is to recognize the ordinary consciousness that is unaltered in the natural state. And that is the only essence. And Milarepa has said that as I continue to sustain the ordinary consciousness, or having continued to sustain ordinary consciousness, I have forgotten about all the confusion and delusion arising out of ignorance. It all has left my mind. So whatever arises, whatever appears, do not grasp at it in any way. And within that, actually, within that instruction, all the important points about practice are really actually complete. Because once you grasp at self and other, that grasping, these concepts are the very root of samsara. And like in a Samantabhadra prayer, it speaks about the two kinds of ignorance, the co-emergent ignorance and the imputing ignorance. And that really is the basis of the delusion of all sentient beings. So whatever it is that arises, do not cling to it. The three poisons and so forth, like attachment, aversion, and ignorance. Now, when there is a clinging thought arises, then you sever it with the view of meditation. And even if it is an attachment, a clinging thought towards something positive, whatever it is, when attachment and clinging arises, it is an affliction. And an affliction then actually constitutes a hindrance to attaining liberation. So it is like an obstacle to liberation. And so therefore, don't grasp at whatever arises. It says then again, whether it is something that has characteristics or has no characteristics, any vision or appearance, any experience, whatever you experience and whatever comes to you is just the natural appearance of those ordinary habitual patterns in the mind, those imprints. So whatever it is, you treat it all the same. You don't grasp at it. You don't engage it. And that is the supreme path. Gampopa had said that actually. He said that when you do not grasp at whatever arises, at whatever appears, that is the supreme path. There is no higher, no greater practice that can be done.
Ta sara gang la xin ba yu na de yang tong xin ba yu na de tong huo si ben de song re cha so na cha ba xin ba si yo ba cha so na yi dam yin jiang qian ge le si chu na yi dam la la cha so na cha ba de ko rang yu mo ba yin zang de gen qian ge le si xin so na de wa jin ji xin kan le ji bon do se de so na dong ha ge jo le si bei ji xu na ngô là quân đại chỉ xuyên ngô cha cha phô ya tăng ngô là đô xuyên ngô cha cha phô na cô cha phô ya tăng ngô cha ya chỉ ba đấy quân đại này đô là chỉ ba cô thì du cha xin sẽ ya thì mấy cái vậy chứ thế cái nó tên là dùng cái đấy khi số sum ban nam gom ban dan thuyền ban nang tí na kim xin tí sen na gom chín ban ga chik错当稳当达瓦当只瓦所及进了对象，他这所以错是那忙不稳吧是那的人那稳吧，错了达瓦当只瓦所及进了对象，他这说忙不那你个来看不那女人那你就是日有当日米的那完都那样是他的那们的 don't know, then I'm Jine, Pen a jam sotan, Balap Tower. Hoatan young in the Bayona, Chape, Nelon de la Tojang, Tang Mato Pelling Baris, that they can next same Nelo thing the Mato Packling Baris. Jam so labi in the thing Hondeni. So to Sam Nelo Tonta, but the Ham, my own eternity. Chopatan, Wayne Batan, Tarato, Jintel, Tugo, Chiclavajura.
Mamonium,
Mambotan, Tenichi, Agari, Yano, Nevin, Balade, Guriti, Tronchena, Dea Sigurati, Tinaya, Tesota, same thing, same Nelo, the Matopa Lane, Dores, Matopatares, Limbades. Then just same Yunas, Dordina, same the Yuna, Saja Chimbo Yures. Same the units on the same minutes Saja Chimbo maybe says. Chotan, Wayne Batan, Tarwatan, Triple, Zangi, Kijin, Tupan, Saja Chimbo Seattle, Jina, Tuba Chiang maybe, the Saja Chimbo in a mine, the Saja Chimbo in so mine, take gom the Yapun Rohona, Mondona Nyabaso, Panzatan, Lanzatan, Revatan, Topa. Take some contract, take some Topa, take some contract Mazava, Tudana Batam, Jita Kanshar Kanang. La Jere Tashing me the Joma, Joma Savo, Saint Redo se per lam and Mabdeja per Latan, Jerem Bombacapsa, not Latin Drobion, Sereva, Dromion, Topa, Redo se per Lando, Maristan, Drum, Madonna, Mandos in the tennis also, Jerem Terran, Late Gomdena, then Latin Drobion Cordes, Redo take go canor.
Saraha had said that you should give up whatever you are attached to, even if it is the Yidam deity, actually. Because even if it is the Yidam deity, if you are attached, then still it will keep you, the attachment will still keep you in bondage, because the clinging attachment is an affliction. Or for example, if you have a strong attachment, a desire to be born in the pure land of Dewa Chen, because you believe that it's so blissful and wonderful there, actually that attachment in itself also is the cause of suffering. It makes no difference whether you hit someone in the head with a statue or a rock. The result is the same. You will bleed and you'll have a headache. No matter even if it's a statue, you will still bleed. If it's a rock, same result. And that is what is meant here, is that when there is attachment, no matter to what, attachment in itself is unwholesome, and therefore it leads to suffering. And so some of the great meditators have said that when you're in a state of Mahamudra, then that state does not actually depend on any outer circumstances. So it doesn't matter whether you are together with a big gathering of people, a lot of people, or you are completely alone in isolation, or whatever other positive or negative situation you encounter. Whatever is the situation on the outer level, it does not at all affect the state of Mahamudra. It is just like whatever it is, arising like a wave on the ocean water. And the mind of Mahamudra is all-pervasive. The nature pervades all of samsara and nirvana, so everything really becomes equal. So for as long as there is actually these views of feeling like more comfortable alone and not wanting to stay with a lot of people, or being affected by certain situations or circumstances, then that's actually also shows or is a sign that Mahamudra is not yet realized. But in brief, actually, it is said that because you have a mind, you also have Mahamudra naturally. If you wouldn't have a mind, then only then you wouldn't have Mahamudra. And the state of Mahamudra actually depends on no circumstance, whether it is good or bad, or isolation, or a crowd of people, and so on. It relies on nothing whatsoever. And so now there is no, within that state, there is nothing that needs to be done, nothing to accomplish, nothing that is rejected or abandoned. There is no hopes and doubts and no expectations and no fears and so forth. There is not even a thought of, I must practice this because it's good and so on. Nothing like that at all. When you're in a state of Mahamudra, then at all times, no matter what arises, you will continue to sustain remaining within that natural state without being affected by it at all. So now also when we practice the visualization of the Yidam deity, for example, even then we shouldn't have hopes and expectations or fears and so on. If you think that I really have to accomplish this, then that is also actually hope. And if you are worried about not accomplishing it, then that is a form of fear, expectation. So just keep doing the practice without thinking about accomplishing or not accomplishing it. Just do the practice. And as a result, eventually you will naturally accomplish it. So sustain the state without any hopes or fears.
다 곰바 람드 처처들인도 데라 인양 사자 친부 레초다버스 남도 녀몽 란데 나차 동하 체와소 무종신 람드 체와라스 로뇽 코트로토 타바소 람체망드 유무장스 로뇽 코독신 하고요 하고요.
하고요.
어야. 되니 라고입니다. 남쪽 남도 람체. 뉴몬 람체, 나차 람체, 란데 람체. 어디는도 동화 람체, 치와 람체, 스티코 독진 유장스, 유무장, 직딩 공복. 뉴몬 기반이 남도레스. 남도 디지이나 데라 간 짐바티야 남도레스. 디 니보 곰시바양 남도 테스 남도 숨직 반데 메지 송베 데 남도 강나 남도 직바데 다 머릭 송베스 데 탐지 라심 직부시레 임베세 랑심 직부시레 임베세 빠자다 니보 이르미 간샤르 짐바 메방한데 지미응도 이미 좋아네 데 람체르 직코 마인데 당문에데 람체르 직코 만데리 신지미응도 이미 좋아야데 라당 레란 츠나 양시 덴지 젠남도 데니 계획상 뉴지 인스테 라리 덴 데리 삼야케 남도 데니 계획상 뉴지 인나스 데가 지미 든 요번에 시나 라린 데리 자마선 짐바메 베톨은 요번에 시나 인르바 시바 소양 요마레스 베나스 제툰 말아레 발라 다시모 달랑 바양 다시몬 진도 되니 다인체 데레 임베 다시몬 누바지양 세미도스 tin malaketi dasim dalla jiura hoya tina koma namje karpo chiktap chi sung karpo ta koma kaju koma na ba karpo chiktap chi sung beteng lamcher yena tumugu pa la gongba yin karpo chiktap se lamcher yena tumugu ban jimi ngane yimi chungade ho yin shen de ta nyamne chene dan dina nyumong checham rapa te cham to tope sinimong te checham rapa te cham to tope char chewe ser chun ta mugute tela rembo chite song so mlare pa kende song res nyumong ke ramjin shi za na nyumong po ramjin shi za na nyumong dongan de yi che dur ze yin nyumong ke ramjin shi za na nyumong dongan de yi che dur ze res pena jarse la lina na geva lom chun de pe jarse la geva lom chun de pe jarse la nezi tham je ren chin tar tang chong song ba ho te na yin sa re
and then din ngapara
re ngapa tin sum ba la de tu na ngapa rin de
So then the fifth point, the fifth instruction is the way in which we can take this meditation on the path in our activities. And so it is said that we have to equalize the six doors that need to be equalized, made all equal or same in nature. And those are, now from the state of perspective of Mahamudra, thoughts, discursiveness, and afflictions, and gods, and demons, and illness or suffering, and death. So all of these circumstances are taken as the path. So we take thoughts as the path. So even though thoughts like illness arises, for example, suffering arises, the affliction that it generates is a thought, a mental arising. And even the notion of an I, thinking that there is an I, is a thought. Or to think that there is an antidote to practice, to meditate on, that's a thought. And so in this way we are like piling up one thought, we're stacking one thought above the other. So we have piled up three thoughts and so on. So when we practice and take them as the path, we should not like pile up, stack up thoughts upon each other more and more. But recognize that whatever arises is nothing else but the activity or this moving function of your mind itself. It's your mind at work, in other words, whatever arises. And what needs to be abandoned and the antidote are actually inseparable. So the instruction here is, in brief, that whatever the circumstance and whatever arises, sustain a state of not grasping at it. And that will take whatever arises, it will become the path itself. For example, when we have this perception of gods and demons or spirits and so on, and we believe in their reality, so you think that there is really this ghost or this spirit and so on, that is a thought, a mental arising. And that thought is an actual hindrance that causes harm and so on. So if you don't understand this point of non-grasping, then it appears that these things actually truly exist. So know that point and do not grasp at gods and demons and so on. And if you rest within such a state, an even state, there is actually no harm that anyone can bring upon you at all. For example, Milarepa, when he encountered this demoness, Drasingmom, he finally then realized that what he called this monster, this demon, is nothing else but the grasping thought in his own mind. He called that a demon. That's why it became a demon to him. But there is no other demoness than that. And so the past Kagyu masters have only found one single sufficient method of practicing the path or taking whatever arises as the path. And that is to sustain a state of non-grasping, not pursuing whatever arises, not following whatever arises. And if you have this point of practice, then whatever arises, even the most fierce of afflictive emotions, they will actually turn into an enhancement to the quality of your realization. So they actually increase the strength of your practice. So then you should not regard them as a fault, actually. And regarding that, Rinpoche actually said this note regarding this teaching by Milarepa. Rinpoche said that when you know the nature, the true nature of afflictive emotions, then the five poisons and their suffering, the five poisons actually are an nectar, wisdom nectar, like blissful wisdom nectar. Or in the 37 Bodhisattva practices, it says, to those who desire the treasures of virtue, all those who do harm are like a precious treasure.
Sauna, oh, sauna, nani, the door, the make idua. Tanamjuna, shot make nibora. The not choke a cello, not that last how I change the demotal chandra. Could you shit shock Kimbo Chancellor Numonti Drupon of Chandra? The Pena the Jotumuna. Jammazak dogs are the shell, Michelle and Matzel look down Baranco, and Munet Tatawatan, Yani, you need the zona. What and then you mong Yishila George, don't mean the Joseph in the butter. You the user is Tara Arike Pico Lama Chamaza.
Pico? Samasade.
March. Chamaza.
Peacock, I know.
Take dogs are inside of it.
Monsieur. So some people have asked me the question, how do we actually transform the afflictive emotions into wisdom? It's just like asking, how do we transform water into fire, actually? And so that's my answer to that question. For example, if you go to a sauna, you have those hot stones in there. And actually, ordinarily, water is like the antidote, the opposite of fire. It extinguishes fire. But in a sauna, the more water you pour on those stones, the hotter it actually gets. And eventually you can't even stay anymore. It gets so strong. The fire gets so strong because of the water. And so that is when the fire is already very strong. Then if you add water, it actually enhances the fire. And from that perspective, actually, the afflictive emotion is like a supporting friend, a helpful friend to the to primordial wisdom, awareness, because it enhances the strength of awareness. Or, for example, it's like a peacock peacocks, when they eat poison, not only don't they die, but actually eating poison makes them become even more brilliant, even more colorful, and they become even more bright. So that's like transforming the afflictions into wisdom. But now, we asked me, I also don't know. Do you know in America, do peacocks actually eat poison?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody knows?
So, in Tibet, they eat poison. Maybe America no poison. That's indeed the poison. That's indeed the poison. The poison. Oh, yeah, the tan dollar jans, that is what is necessary. Dollar jans. Jan Sem Nam, Sancho Sem Nam, Numon Lam de Draw, Sibits, Jancho somebody so Numon Lam de Draw, Sorta, Jedar, Droncher, would pay Jetanas, Droncher Guj, Mazan Sam Judan, the Zoba, the soul, the sauce, then a branching Bishing La Pins, the American country Janatwani, Sam Ju Zoba Sama, Shinkan and them. Then Shinka the Bell, Lodon de Vijay, Pepimbo, sitting the Lu. Taking the Sancho Sembe, Nimon Lute, Jardan Jarasi, the Sanje, Jarvi Chulayan, Pembersi, cheese on the Tron which Mazan will Luci, Prishingam, Loto Jipersipa, Tataran Court Lungdini, the Tindrivat warning Hondo. Troncher which Mazan will Luci, Prishingam, Loto Jipersipa, Nimon Top Dinta, Nibo Top Din Zona, Kajik and Rev Topa, Benas. Medon was Sontrengin, she down top dinner, Simedon was Sontrengin, Gubja Gubja Korgus area. Doing Basanji Jomdi, the shooting pickups, Kajik in the Korank Demba, Tonga Tabatans, Demba Tong. Sanghapa, Numon Lamdalong, Namjang, Sanghanyam Solinkin, so Numon Lamdaling. lam de long lam ja nyumong ko top che cham chewa cham de lam chi chu ten da wa chu chewa dang ra shin cha ja chen bu kap ndre nyumong cham de ma ze jam ning gi san chu ki sem dang ta wa gomba la so ba ta gom so jang zang to da ngin to ke che par cham le zang to ke ngin to che par cham le dun tam be ngula nam to de chik ba yi mu jang se de tham ji chi de bong yang me bong dang de yang me lin par gang xie de ju mi de zhong wang de nyam ni je ne yang da ba yin la ra sem nar me dun de tabla wang yorves
la
ransem sem ram sem nelo narma sin chuni narma tonan jirwa me pa nam jiro la nam jiro pa la ya tang sang ting tan da man da tulon da man da kuni tang sa mari nan jiro pa sia te ransem narma tonan chuni jin jirwa me pe nam jiro sin de ramsem narma ton de tawla wang yorves Tenche nam jir tangs rang ke sem te ta tong dam ke nam jir ngune ke nam jir tende rang sem te ngo thong wam rang ji sem ngo thong wam to pe sen na to din shin nam jir se ya te to din se ya te meng te rin wa rang ke sem je ngo thong wam pe to pe sen na to din shi ba nam jir to din shi ya te meng te ta pa yin no sin te ta cha ma 남주던 또디 자살성 주님 남의 돈은 제가 안 되거든.
So then here it says now in brief, if now according to the sutras in the sutras it is said if from when there is bodhicitta, then the afflictive emotions become like supporters along the path. For example, it is like when you pick up the filth and the feces of all kinds of beings, of animals and humans and so on, and you plant it, you use it as a fertilizer in the field to plant crops. Then actually, although it started out as something filthy, but in the end it's really actually conducive for the crop to grow. So it becomes something conducive. So for a practitioner of bodhicitta, the afflictive emotion becomes like this fertilizer that is conducive to the practice, beneficial. And such a person can actually, when encountering that the condition of bodhicitta, then in an instant actually a result can be attained. There is this story about Angulimala, who had killed 999 people already when he encountered the Buddha, Shakyamuni, and the Buddha then taught him the Dharma, and then in an instant his mind transformed and he saw then the truth, and it changed. And then from a Vajrayana perspective, we are taking the afflictions as the path itself. So that is that the stronger the affliction actually is, the greater will be the enhancement to the practice if it is taken as the path. So that is now from the perspective of the state of Mahamudra. So from that perspective, then everything becomes equal. There is no more distinguishing, no discerning between positive and negative, and the view and the conduct, and love and compassion, and so forth. Everything on the ultimate level is equal. It is a mental arising, like a thought. And so in that state, then there is nothing that is abandoned and nothing that is sought or accepted. One just rests within a state of not grasping at whatever arises, and without altering the state at all, leaving it all as it is and sustaining that state. And that's the true crucial point of all practice, really. And so then there is this explanation on two terms here. Now we often speak about a yogi. First of all, a yogi. A yogi, now the Tibetan term is Naljur, also 2 syllables again. And so it is, now the jor, the second syllable, means to, you are engaging in or uniting with the Nal, which is the unborn state, the innate state of Dharmata. So a real yogi actually is not what we often understand as a yogi, like someone who wears certain robes and so on. But the ultimate, the true yogi is someone who has united with in the unborn natural state of the mind, or it's called Dharmata. And then another term that you might have heard is called a dokten, which is something like a yogi, but someone who has realized, a realized one, to translate it. So it is someone, a dokten, a realized one, is someone who has realized or seen the nature of one's own mind. So after all that, we all doktens now.
ngondori daga na yinke ta che ki zo gomdang da oda di mangjin da oda la yo ta ngone ke lam thong sen na mando hirap sen na mando saja chimbo zopa chimbo ta kong zo tong ji ba ren wa den de zo de ne rembo chin de na chiran zo dang wa shu sen na dang yo kan sen na ni ma sharan do kap so lo dang dream go ya yo marwa tane kanyi che da ni ba na ne Rinpoche ngala kabatan kapju tong jeda nipa
jeda nipa
kabatan ngala kapju tong do kapju tong de nga chu jormi meten da khakhe ke nga ke saja chimbo thige umare shehe umare shundwa ten Rinpoche ngala chu kares me healing kares bendo ya chu losom cham de chang kimbo masan jar chale khakhe lama khakhe ngondo yo mare saja chimbo so hien ro yo res chu me he karan ngal kapju tong do 다 때에 호망에 저 참아 림보친데는 땅에 요리때 다 terrain 데 람통나니 시랍데 사세진 모든 애 되는 시고야지 돼서 직tem된다고 인저리데 진델라티네 다 파체 직선을 림보치긴하라 Prüfung, Deutsch Prüfung, aber ich sehe da auch Prüfung. Was ich sehe, da auch in der Tat, in der Latine, gerade ein bisschen den Dama, Tobiata, da der dann ja wohl die, dann Kimpo da, da zusammen ja wohl, die Topa dann am Tos ja dann, die so ja wohl Dolenz ja die, Pekara Zambo, ein bisschen den Sache parchindela, die so ja die Pekara Zambo, so Pekara Chon, die nicht hamala, tugi Chies, die Mixert. 다 로자바데 렘보체케 루탄 트마 인도 로바 인자 무네스나 트렌테 사자 침보 동토야 린도 텔레 데헤 자야라 로이 추치 론데 투문통 신데 텐데헤 자레 라오문도테 다 로자야 그린테나 틱스 송송 텔라 테니 노르와탄 트루와 망보 유시게리 텐데 참ala gonda 슈야탄 틱스 틱다 치란소 고안다보탄 틱스 토판다보테리나 ten chupari rimbochi tuji sinabri tin samala tahi dele tuji che shoya entrepreneur ki samala ta tusun saso
So actually that's it's a very, we are stopping the instructions now, and it's a very auspicious point of stopping it, because now we have decided that we are Dokdens, so we don't have to wait to become Dokdens in the future. That's the perfect place to stop it. So it's very auspicious, and everything has been auspicious actually in this whole program. A lot of auspicious signs and circumstances have really come together. Because also you should know that normally I'm teaching in Europe and Germany and so forth, and normally my style of teaching is actually one where I do not really teach much on that topic. I mostly focus on foundational topics like the preliminaries, and also a bit on the practice of the generation and completion stage and so on, but more the foundational practices. And now we have those teachings on, we call it shamata and vipashyana, or Mahamudra or Dzogchen. It all has the same meaning, really. And normally I'm always telling people to receive those instructions from Rinpoche, and you also have received these instructions from Rinpoche. And I'm sending people to Rinpoche because I feel that when the sun is shining, there's no need to turn on a light, and no need to turn on a candle. The sun is already there, and that's Rinpoche. And so that is why I always refer people to Rinpoche's instructions on that topic. But then this year, last February, Rinpoche called me on the phone, and he scolded me. And he said that he's heard reports from German disciples that I'm not giving the Mahamudra instructions in Germany. And so Rinpoche asked me, why are you not giving those instructions? You have done a 3-year retreat, and you have met with Khenpo Münzer, and there is actually several other lamas or teachers who also teach the Dharma, but who have not actually even done the preliminary practices, but still they teach in Mahamudra. And so why don't you do it? You really have to do it. And so then it happens in a kind of a natural way that I was always referring people to Rinpoche, and now I'm ending up sitting here and having to give those teachings. Now it kind of comes back to me. So it all is very good and auspicious. And actually, the other day also I've received these instructions from Rinpoche, and also through Khenpo and so on. We have gone through these instructions, and we were able to clear away doubts and thoughts about all of that, and have really have the opportunity to really understand this, which is really extremely fortunate, especially at such a special place like this. That's Rinpoche's main seat. So I'm really extremely happy for that opportunity, and I'm very grateful for it. And also thanking the translator who had followed Rinpoche long like a shadow. And so normally, speaking about the meaning of Mahamudra and so on, as you mentioned before, it's not something that can be easily expressed, because we have said that which lies beyond the intellect cannot be shown by means of the intellect. So it's clearly not an easy topic to express, but through the translator's support, that was really possible to do. And still, if I've made any mistakes, or if there have been some mistakes or confusions and so on, then I apologize for that sincerely. But I hope that you have gained some understanding, some realization here through this practice. And if you have, then it is also really, really due to Rinpoche's blessings. So I'm very grateful for all this and you coming. And so thank you so much.
Tati sheneda lantong di takes the nature hakoya tike teni hoa ta monam de Rinpoche kutse shape ten yata teni semjin tamje ke sem ke ne lo to ne teni tende deva sanje kompang to be chi de dara ti andang juni de jibo teni de no teni sancho semjun do yana tu chu so cha tira teni na ro chi ti chi to chama de so ni ya la tu ji che shu ya yin wa monam to ne
juni dang ti jibo
sancho semjo
a teni chamro semjo ya
de yin ki to lo yana
so we will do, first of all, so we will dedicate our roots of virtue now, and thinking that we are dedicating these roots of virtue so that we will really understand and realize the essence of shamata and vipashyana. And we also pray for Rinpoche's long life and pray that all sentient beings may realize the nature of their mind and then attain the state of lasting happiness, the state of enlightenment. So thank you everyone for listening. We do dedications now. That is in English on page 13. That page, because we are a little bit late, we will just do a short dedication. So page 13 and then we're going to page 18, the last verse. So first page 13. Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind, root and lineage lamas, divine assembly of yidams and assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, yogins, yoginis, and dakinis dwelling in the 10 directions. Please hear my prayer. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May thoughts of fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and through that may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. May the torment of suffering not arise even at the time of my death. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such and the pervading clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo. And then we go into page 18. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. Same in Tibetan.
I wanted to thank Drupon Tsering for coming such a long distance all the way from Europe, and this is the first time that he's been able to teach at Garchen Institute, so we're very happy that this could happen, and thank you so much, and we hope that you will come again.
Thank you.
Thank you. And also wanted to thank Ina for her wonderful translation.
No.
Thank you. Okay.
If anyone else would like to make a kata offering, we do have some katas here.
This is all the game, mother.
Okay, I'm ready.
Come on. Come on. Sure.
Take it.